As we said, we move to the New World and look at the Mesoamerican and Andes cultures before we wrap up the book People of the Earth. So this is the Mesoamerican archaeological sites that the book mentions. Approximate distribution of two cultural traditions are shown here. Value of Mexico, so we have Tula, Teotihuacan, and Tehuacan. So value of Oaxaca here, and Yucatan, and you always hear of Yucatan in the context of the meteorite crash that wiped out the dinosaurs. But nonetheless, here we have the Mayapan and Chichen Itza and various other sites mentioned here. This is the distribution of classic Maya, Toltec and Aztec civilizations. Toltec and Aztec areas overlap here, of course. So the Mayas are over here, the Mayan lowlands and Mayan highlands. We talked about this a little bit in the other podcast. And we have the Toltec in this greenish color, which overlaps with the Aztec. Okay, that's what is mentioned. And the time periods, Mayans, of course, are much more recent, 300 to 900, and this is Common Era and later. Toltec went from AD 990 to 1160, so it's still Common Era, of course, and the Aztecs from 1300 to 1519. So actually Toltecs are even more recent than Mayans, and the Aztecs are much more recent than them, but we have been talking about cultures much older in the Old World, of course, which is not surprising. The brief summary: the pre-classic period of Mesoamerican prehistory lasted for approximately 2000 BC to AD 250, a time of major culture change in both lowlands and highlands that we just looked at. Sedentary villages traded with each other in raw materials and exotic objects. These exchange networks became increasingly complex and eventually came under the monopolistic control of larger villages. So you can see the evolution there of how trade tends to homogenize civilizations, settlements, cultures, languages, and so on. Increasing social complexity went hand in hand with the appearance of the first public buildings and the evidence of social stratification. These developments are well chronicled in the Valley of Oaxaca and in the Olmec culture of the lowlands, which flourished from approximately 1500 to 500 BC. Olmec art style and religious beliefs were among those that spread widely over lowlands and highlands during the late pre-classic period. Pre-classic cultural developments culminated in the highlands in a number of great cities, among them Monte Alban and Teotihuacan. Teotihuacan had collapsed by approximately AD 700, probably as a result of warfare with other rival states in the highlands. Drought may have also played a role in its demise. Religious ideologies, ritual organization, and extensive trading networks were key factors in the development of Maya society in the lowlands after 1000 BC. Classic Maya civilization flourished from AD 250 to 900. And consisted of an ever-changing patchwork of competing states. Maya glyphs show that Maya civilization was far from uniform. Religious beliefs rather than political or economic interests unified Maya. That's an interesting piece of the evolutionary history, that these unifications were not by military or political or economic interests or forces, but religious beliefs brought them together. Until about AD 600, the largest states were in northeast Petén, now in Guatemala, with a multi-center polity headed by the sky rulers of Tikal. Maya civilization reached its height in the southern lowlands after the 7th century AD, collapsing suddenly in the Yucatan after AD 900. The reasons for the collapse are still uncertain, but droughts, environmental degradation, pressure on the labor force, and food shortages were doubtless among the reasons. So again, environmental determinism is not necessarily the proximal cause, but probably has to be part of the ultimate cause or causes that led to the sudden collapsing of Yucatan after 8900. Teotihuacan collapse in the highlands resulted in a political vacuum for some centuries, which was eventually filled by the Toltecs and then the Aztecs, whose civilization was dominant in the Valley of Mexico at the time of the Spanish conquest in AD 1519. So the age of discovery, 1492 to 1522, overlapped with this period, with Spaniards coming in and conquistadors taking over everything and having a long-lasting impact that obviously still survives in terms of religion, language, and so on. Okay, so we have the Andes left, and we will look at that in the next podcast.